I'm a bit of a meditation skeptic.
Until you learn to meditate, you think that the outside world or the circumstances of your life always have to get arranged so that the present moment can become good enough to demand your attention in a way that seems fulfilling, that makes you happy. And so if it's jujitsu, you think, okay, I got to get back on the mat. It's been months since I've trained. It's been over a year since I've trained. It's COVID. When am I going to be able to train again? That's the only place I feel great, right? Or, I've got a ton of work to do. I'm not going to be able to feel good until I get all this work done, right? So I've got some deadline that's coming. You always think that your life has to change, the world has to change, so that you can finally have a good enough excuse to truly to just be here, and here is enough. That where the present moment becomes totally captivating. Meditation is meditation is another name for the discovery that you can actually just train yourself to do that on demand. We're constantly deferring our sense of this is it. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the show. We keep deferring it, and we just have these moments on the calendar where we think, okay, this is where it's all going to land. Is that vacation I planned with my 5 best friends? We do this once every 3 years, and now we're going, and here we are on the beach together. Unless you have a mind that can really pay attention, really cut through the chatter, really sink into the present moment, you can't even enjoy those moments the way they should be enjoyed, the way you dreamed you would enjoy them when they arrive. So meditation in this sense is the great equalizer. It's like you don't have to live with the illusion anymore that you need a good enough reason, and that things are going to get better when you do have those good reasons. It's like there's just a mirage-like quality to every future attainment and every future breakthrough and every future peak experience, that eventually you get the lesson that you never quite arrive, right? Like you don't arrive until you cease to step over the present moment in search of the next thing. We're constantly we're stepping over the thing that we think we're seeking, in the act of seeking it. And so it is kind of a paradox. There's this paradox which it sounds trite, but it's like you can't actually become happy. You can only be happy, and it's the illusion that it's the illusion that your future being happy can be predicated on this act of becoming in any domain. And becoming includes this sort of further scientific understanding on the questions that interest you, or getting in better shape, or whatever the thing is, whatever the contingency of your dissatisfaction seems to be in any present moment. Real attention solves the koan, in a way that becomes a very different place from which to then make any further change. It's not that you just have to dissolve into a puddle of goo. You can still get in shape, and you can still do all the things that, the superficial things that are obviously good to do, but the sense that your well-being is over there is really does diminish, and eventually it just becomes a kind of non sequitur. So the meditation I would recommend you do is just pay attention to your experience. Very much in the spirit of scientific hypothesis, which is, if you want to understand better what it's like to be you, it would make sense to pay attention. Pay attention to the breath, and you feel the movement and tension and pressure and tingling and whatever you feel with the rising of each inhalation and the falling of each exhalation. And then the next second, you're thinking about something, and you've completely forgotten the project. You forgot you were in a room trying to meditate. You forgot this is something you even wanted to do. You're just talking to yourself,
right,
helplessly. And it's very much analogous to being asleep and dreaming and not knowing that you're dreaming. It's like a daydream where you've actually lost contact with who you are and what you're about in that moment, and you have had no reality testing riding alongside it. So it's like all of a sudden you're having an argument with someone who's not there, right? You're rehearsing the conversation you had with your girlfriend the day before, or the thing you're expecting to happen later today, and literally there's a voice in your head that is your own voice, and it feels like you. It feels like yourself. If you recognize that you've won the lottery on some level, and you are in a position now where there are billions of people who would consider their prayers answered if they could trade places with you, right? And there'll be a time in your life where you would give anything to trade places with who you are now, right? Like when you're in your last months of life and you're terminally ill, or you've lost someone very close to you. I mean, there's like when you have this moment in the sun where things are basically going well, right? I think it's appropriate to have a module in your mind which continually pings you, which says like if you can't enjoy this, right? Like if this is going to be wasted on you, you're never going to be happy, right? Like this, you should be able to enjoy this part. Like this is dessert, right? Dessert has arrived, and whatever story you have about all the other things you might do or become, this is really like this is a wonderful life, right? So can you settle into this at all with your attention, right? And if you can't, I think that's the problem to recognize, right? Like if the thing you should want to become is someone who's better at recognizing the beauty of your life moment to moment, right? The difference between finding that moment and not is enormous, right? And it's like the area under the curve could still suck a lot. It's like in the beginning, you might only have 20 moments like that a day, right? But the difference between being someone who never gets it clearly, right, and it never truly punctuates his busyness and ambition and disappointment and every other module that's been installed, with just clear contact with the beauty and sacredness of the present moment. That difference is enormous. And once you have those punctate moments, and again, this is a meditation by another name, then you can have 100, and then you can have 1,000, and then the character of your life can more and more resemble the true virtues of being, even when you're still becoming. I mean, even when you have the whole apparatus of you've got employees, you've got a calendar, you've got Slack is open all day. It's all that's happening. You can still be someone who's basically already happy. It can't be a matter of reaching and grabbing and fully satisfying your desire again and again and again as a way to finally become happy. You have to locate your satisfaction more and more in the state of being that is already here, that's preceding the next change. Your happiness can't be ultimately a matter of changing experience. It has to be a matter of recognizing the nature of experience.
Without any serving it up, without any explanation, what is the meaning of life?
I think it's either the wrong question, or that question is answered by paying sufficient attention to any present moment such that there's no basis upon which to pose that question. It's not answered in the usual way. It's not a matter of having more information. It's having more engagement with reality as it is in the present moment, or consciousness as it is in the present moment. You don't ask that question when you're most captivated by the most important thing you ever pay attention to. That question only gets asked when you're abstracted away from that experience, that peak experience. There's no evidence that this isn't the best moment of your life, right? Like this, it doesn't have to be pulling all the reins and levers of pleasure. It's not like this tastes like chocolate. This is the most chocolatey moment of my life. No, it's just the sense data don't have to change, but the sense that there is some kind of basis for doubt about the rightness of being in the world in this moment, that can evaporate when you pay attention. And that is the meaning. So the kind of the meta answer to that question, the meaning of life for me is to live in that mode more and more, and to, whenever I notice I'm not in that mode, to recognize it and return, and to not be to cease more and more to take the reasons why not at face value.